This Sunday, the Cleveland Browns make their return to NBC's Sunday Night Football. Now, it's been a long time since the Browns last played on Sunday night. How long, you ask? Well, 11 years to be exact. That's right, we have to go all the way back to 2008 to find the last time the Browns played on Sunday night. Now, in 2016, they did play on NBC on a Thursday night, but that was just a mandatory Thursday night game that every team gets, so I don't really count that. The last real NBC game they had was all the way back in 2008. Now, as you know, that was a long time ago. 11 years is quite some time. So just to give you an idea how long it's been, I'm going to share some facts from 2008 that may or may not blow your mind, if you're old enough. Number 1. George W. Bush was still the president the last time the Browns played on Sunday night. Amazing. Number 2. The number 1 song at the time was Whatever You Like by T.I. And number 3. The Dark Knight was still a new movie at the time. It came out 2 months prior, back in July. Now, as far as the world of football is concerned, John Madden was still calling games. In fact, he even called the Sunday night game that night. Number 2, John Gruden was still coaching the Buccaneers, which means his entire tenure on Monday Night Football had yet to happen. Number 3, Freddie Kitchens was a tight ends coach in Arizona. And number 4, Baker Mayfield was in 8th grade. I'm assuming he was in 8th grade because we have almost the same birthday and I was in 8th grade, so... But anyway, enough of that. We'll switch focus to the last time the Browns were on Sunday night. Week 2, 2008. So, coming into the 2008 season, the Browns had enormous expectations. The expectations were just through the roof. And that's because the previous year, 2007, they went 10-6. And they had one of the best offenses in the NFL. Now, I've noticed a lot of people are trying to downplay the expectations in 2008, looking back. Because this year I've been comparing 2008 to 2019, but a lot of people are saying, oh, that wasn't the same, what are you talking about? No, it really was the same. Let's just go over all the facts. The Browns were scheduled for 5 nationally televised games back in 2008. They had one of the best offenses in the NFL, and they added more pieces in the offseason. Fans were chanting Super Bowl during training camp. We still had Brady Quinn waiting in the wings. Even though we had Derek Anderson, who was a Pro Bowl quarterback, we still had the future Brady Quinn waiting in the wings. There was a lot of excitement. So people who are just looking back with revisionist history and saying, oh, it wasn't the same, you're just wrong. I'm sorry. But anyway, now that we've set the stage, let's talk about the Sunday night game, Steelers at Browns, Week 2, 2008. Actually, before I get into that, I should talk about Week 1. The Browns hosted the Cowboys and just totally laid an egg. They lost 28-10. The offense looked abysmal. And you can actually chalk that game up as another nationally televised game for the 2008 Browns because that was a 4 o'clock Fox game and Joe Buck and Troy Aikman got to call it. So most of the country got to see it. So what is that now, 6 nationally televised games for the 2008 Browns? But anyway, let's back to Week 2. So here it is, the Sunday night game, Steelers at Browns. Now, the weather was really bad that night. If you remember, Hurricane Ike was rolling through northeastern Ohio. Not the hurricane itself, but the remnants of it. And as a result, it really affected the game. It was really windy, really rainy. So there wasn't a score until midway through the second quarter when Ben Roethlisberger hit Hines Ward on a touchdown pass to put the Steelers up 7-0. And the Browns' offense was still sputtering from the week before. They looked horrible. And it took until just before the half for them to get anything going. Just before halftime, they were driving down the field. And they were threatening to score, but Derek Anderson threw a costly interception, and that was just a killer. So in the second half, the Steelers went up 10-0, and the Browns actually did get something going. They put a few drives together in the second half. One of them put them in position to kick a field goal, made the score 10-3, and the game would stay 10-3 until pretty late in the fourth quarter. In fact, it was about 3.5 minutes left in the fourth quarter, when Romeo Crennel made a very questionable decision to kick a field goal to make the game 10-6. Now, it should be noted the Browns had 3 timeouts and the 2-minute warning, and neither offense was very impressive, so, it wasn't absurd to think their defense could hold the Steelers. But I just had a bad feeling because I remember this game very well, and even at that point in his career, Ben Roethlisberger had burned the Browns so many times because he was mad they didn't draft him. So I just had a bad feeling. I knew he would just drive down the field and win the game, and sure enough, that's what he did. He picked up a few first downs and left the Browns with almost no time. The Browns had about 30 seconds left once they got the ball, and they did absolutely nothing with it. And that was a wrap on that game. The Steelers won 10-6, and that was the last time the Browns appeared on Sunday Night Football. Now, if you would have told me at the time that the Browns will not play on Sunday night again until 2019, I definitely would not have believed you. But sure enough, that's exactly what happened. Unbelievable. You know, every year I was holding out hope, like, okay, this will be the year they get a Sunday night game. This will be the year. And it just never happened. Looking back, I guess 2014 when they started 7-4, that was probably the closest they came to getting a Sunday night game. Would have happened in 2015, obviously. But didn't happen, and I guess it's because they lost 5 in a row, and the league saw that. And even in 2009, I mean, even though the Browns were god-awful that year, they did finish with a 4-game winning streak. And they were, like, very entertaining, those last 4 games. Like, they had that game against the Chiefs where they were just setting all these records. And then Mike Holmgren was hired as team president, and he was a big name at the time, and still is kind of a big name. So I thought maybe the league would throw the Browns a bone and schedule them on Sunday night. But the exact opposite happened. They got all 1 o'clock games, like the biggest slap in the face you can get. It's actually pretty funny. Well, now it only makes sense to talk about the Browns' upcoming Sunday night game against the Rams. Now, I'm recording this on September 15th, 2019, so I have not seen the Browns-Jets game yet. And that means the last Browns game I've seen was that disaster against the Titans. And before I make any kind of prediction about the Rams game, I'd really like to see the Browns out in the field again. I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't think what we saw in Week 1 is going to be a representation of the entire season. I really think that was a fluky one-off thing. I think the Browns will be fine, especially this week against the Jets. I mean, no Sam Darnold, no CJ Mosley. I think the Browns steamrolled the Jets like 34-10 or something like that. But I'd still like to see him out in the field. I want to see the offense in rhythm. I want to see if Freddie Kitchens resorts back to common sense, meaning if he's backed up in his own goal line, I want to see him hand it to his bulldozing running back or do a QB sneak for a yard or two. I don't want to see Baker running around in the end zone. As far as the Sunday night game is concerned, it'll definitely be a challenge. It'll be their first real challenge of this season, if you ask me. If the Browns do win, I don't think it'll be by much. Now, the Rams' defense last year was ranked like 20th or right around there, so bottom half of the league isn't great. And the Browns exploited bad defenses last year, so there could be fireworks because it's no secret the Rams have a great offense, and what we saw from the Browns' defense last week, I mean, that front four didn't do anything. That massively hyped front four. So if they don't get it turned around, then there could definitely be fireworks. But whatever happens, I'll just be happy the Browns are back on Sunday night. I've been waiting a long time for this, so, you know, I mean, they could lose 40-0 for all I care. But that is unless they lose to the Jets. If they lose to the Jets, then everything I've just talked about is completely irrelevant and the season's over. And I probably will just delete my YouTube channel if they lose to the Jets. But I mean, assuming they beat the Jets, then they can lose to the Rams, and they'll still be 1-2. I mean, it's not the end of the world. So I'm not too concerned about this Rams game, but it will, in my opinion, be the first true test of the season to see how they do against an elite team. So I'll be looking forward to that. Anyway, that's going to do it for this part of the video. I do want to end with a few notes like I usually do. Guys, make sure you follow my Twitter page, @RamenRobbie95. I'm not going to lie, the fan interaction's been pretty disappointing lately. I'm not getting many responses. And I'm not trying to toot my own horn here, but I think I tweet interesting things, so I'm not sure what's going on there. But it's also a good way to catch up on my videos because I always tweet out the video links there. So if you're not always on YouTube, then make sure you follow me on Twitter because you can stay up to date with what I'm posting. Also, subscribe to my other YouTube channel, Ramen Robbie Highlights. That's where I post all those throwback Browns videos. I mix in some NBA too, but it's mainly Brown stuff. And it's been pretty quiet lately, I admit, but I do have one planned for the coming week. It's a classic Browns game from the Charlie Frye era, so be on the lookout for that. So with all that said, I'm going to sign off now. Please hit subscribe if you haven't already. Until next time, I'm Ramen Robbie, and thanks for watching. Go Browns!